My name's Harold Bennett. I'm 78 years old, and a year ago my son told me I was too much to handle. After my wife died, I thought Greg, my only child, would visit often, maybe even stay for dinner once in a while. But he didn't. Instead, one day he sat me down and said, "Dad, Linda and I think you need proper care. You'll be happier at Sunnyvale Retirement Home." He made it sound like a vacation. I didn't argue. I just nodded and said, "If that's what you think is best, son." A week later, I was gone from my own house. Sunnyvale wasn't bad. The nurses were kind and the food was tolerable, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. My suspicions were confirmed when I overheard a nurse talking about how Greg and Linda sold their old man S house within days. My house, the home I built with my bare hands, where I raised Greg, where his mother took her last breath. They sold it like it was just property. I should have felt angry, but all I felt was clarity. A few weeks later, Linda visited with her usual fake smile. "You look well, Harold," she said, checking her watch more than my face. I smiled politely and said, "I'd like to update my will if you don't mind arranging it." She perked up instantly. "Of course, Dad. It's about time." They thought I was preparing to hand everything over, and in a way, I was. My lawyer, Mr. Pearson, had been a friend for 40 years. When I called him, he laughed softly and said, "Harold, I thought you'd never call." With his help, I transferred what little I had left, savings, investments, into a trust fund under a small company name, Bennett Holdings. Using that company, I made one quiet purchase. I bought Greg and Linda's mortgage. A year passed. I spent my days playing chess with the nurses and watching sunsets from my window. Meanwhile, Greg and Linda lived their dream life. Or tried to. I heard through a mutual friend that they'd overspent and were behind on payments. Then one day they got a letter. A foreclosure notice. From Bennett Holdings. Linda called me, voice shaking. "Dad, can you believe this? Some company's trying to take our house." I said calmly, "Oh, that sounds serious. Maybe you should speak to their representative." And so they did. 2 days later, they walked into the downtown office. Sleek, modern, quiet. The secretary led them inside. When they entered the boardroom, I was sitting at the head of the table. Greg froze. Linda's jaw dropped. "Dad, what is this?" I folded my hands and said, "Just business." Greg stammered, You can't do this." I smiled. "You put me in a home because you said I was a burden, but thanks to you, I've never been more comfortable. And now I own your home. Maybe it's time you found somewhere smaller." I stood up, straightened my jacket, and walked out. They didn't call again. Back at Sunnyvale, Nurse Ellen brought me tea and asked, "Rough day, Harold?" I chuckled. "No, Ellen. Just another victory for the old folks. They tried to dump me like yesterday's trash, but they forgot. Wisdom doesn't grow old. They took my house, so I took theirs. And I didn't even have to leave my chair to do it.